I have been leading in a community here in Ireland. I'm a practitioner of Vaishnavism, and I have also been very much alert and aware of this agenda that has been happening right now for over 40 years.
What up, everyone? Welcome to Prove to Me That You're Alive Lightcast, the only show in the world that challenges your perception on reality and life and gives you a mental kick in your spiritual gut so you can start gasping for air of information with a brand new enthusiasm, just like you would if you were a child. Today, I have a super special episode. Now, gentlemen, before I go, I hope you guys know this is not an interview. This is, three cool dudes having a conversation, man. So today I have a very special co-host, my brother Jim Dillinger. You guys, the channel will be in the link in the description. And our guest today is one of the chiefs, and Chief is gonna break it down to us. One of the chiefs of an Irish clan, and he's a great human being. And how do I know that? Because Jim referred me to him, and I know he's super cool. He has a mission, and today we really want to hear. And thank you so much, Chief, for trusting us to have you on. Thank you, and blessings to you and your loved ones. Chief, could you please tell us, maybe for the little ignorant Americans, what are Irish clans? Are they like Irish tribes? And which one do you belong to, and how you became a chief? Like a three-part question.
Yeah, well, there are many, there are 4 provinces basically in Ireland, and there are different traditional pieces of land in those provinces that traditionally go back thousands of years to various dynasty families that make up the bulk of this country, going back, as I said, eons. Now, each of the 4 individual provinces would have chief, how would you say, more prominent families, dynasties they are, in each province, and of those particular families would have the strongest and most regular high chiefs of the clan that would become the provincial kings, the King of Munster, King of Leinster, King of Ulster, King of Connacht. And of those royal clans, the most qualified was considered by everybody and agreed upon. They didn't really often, until later years, come to war to sort out disputes as regards who would be the most qualified. And those wars would be just a clan thing, not an all-out war, but to discern and to establish who had the most rightful claim to power and the most universal support around the country from the different provinces and different clans. Now, my mother's side is the O'Kelly clan, and I'm of the O'Faolon clan. And one is of the province of Leinster and the other of Munster. Traditionally, they provided representatives to the kingship that made up the kingship of this country. Going back, as I said, eons. The kings were never considered military heads. They were considered more wise, established, like you have in Vedic India, the term Raja Rishi. They weren't just kings, they were saintly kings, and they were responsible for the peace and the protection and security of the country according to the established Brehon laws. Now, our Brehon laws are something new to many of your listeners and viewers. The Brehon laws go back in Ireland thousands of years. We still have them. They are entrusted to a couple of people on this island who knows what they are. There are some academics abroad, including in the United States, one particular barrister lady in Carolina, I believe, and she has been studying our Brehon laws and many others with a view to re-establishing them, because these are the most ancient civil law structures that, operational, that were operational in Ireland up until the early 1800s, until they took us down. Late 1798 was when they really took charge of this place in completion. So that's a basic summary of why I have many family members around the world. Apart from here, I have more cousins in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and our clan is dissipated all over the world, as I said. So of my family members here and support here, I was always given this nickname, so I adopted it, and it is never, I use it and as a moniker handle because it was natural to me, and also people like Jim would refer to me as that. I have been leading in a community here in Ireland. I'm a practitioner of Vaishnavism, and I have also been very much alert and aware of this agenda that has been happening right now for over 40 years.
Yeah, I'm sorry for cutting you off, and I have a million questions to ask you. Jim, before I ask my next question, do you want to add anything to what the chief said?
Well, just like that, our Brehon laws are basically the same as common law all over the world. Common law we talk about in America, in England, basically in the English-speaking world. You know, I don't know. Even here, I'm living in France 20 years, and I can't see an equivalent here in Europe. France is the fifth of the Holy Roman Empire in Europe. And if there ever was a common law or a Brehon law system, it has been deleted.
Yeah.
And, so common law, same law worldwide, do no harm, basically. And we need to reestablish it.
I just wanted to add, it's really amazing. I feel so, like, right now I just realized how blessed I am that I'm sitting here talking to you guys. Chief, the interesting thing, and Jim, is that I'm really big on studying our ancestors and connecting with our ancestors. And Jim, to add to what you were saying, in the Slavic world, if you will, we have, you call it common law, we call it Konet. And what I really want to say is, looking worldwide into how the ancestors lived, this law was in fact worldwide at one point until it started to get killed off. Chief, where do the Celts or Irish come from before that territory? Do you know if they go back to Scythia? Like, if you would pinpoint, where do you guys come from?
Scythia would be very much have a connection, yes. As you say, the Vedic, the Scythian and Slavic Vedas, very much connected to the ancient Irish Britons, and our language has many associations as well, words the same, grammatical terms the same. Also things that are out of the norm. For instance, the definition or the title, the way title of land would be written would be quite similar in the wording as in ancient Germany, Scythia, and ancient India. Many, many words in our language are coming directly from Sanskrit, which you probably might have also connections with in the Scythian area. Language-wise, I just spoke to a friend of mine last night. He's Croatian, and he's telling me about how the words in Croatia are the very same as in Sanskrit, identical. And also in our language here, you know, we have many of them that haven't been changed at all. So these Brehon laws, as Jim was saying, were universal, but Ireland, being a very, very ancient home of learning, it is the school of knowledge in Europe. Many of the mystery schools in Europe would send their most learned to the druidic schools here in Ireland and Britain. There were quite a lot, but extensions of Ireland pretty much. And I could make some incredible claims for some people. Even a Jewish community from the Middle East at a site of great druidic learning, a school of knowledge here in Kildare, a place known as Killeen Cormac. And that was a place of learning of our last College of Druids before they were put to the knife. And there is reference by our druids, our last druid, that Jesus himself and many others from his area came and stayed at this ashram to learn from the druids many things from what they learned in particular. We have astrology, medicine, all of the sciences, music, arts, all of those included. This was where the teachings of higher stuff, higher esoteric knowledge was really at home. And that's why they came here. We've also had ancient Irish Vedic cultural festivals that were enacted right until the 1300s. They were the biggest festivals in Europe. We had the Great Fair of Carmen. The last one took place in the year 1113. And that was recognized as far as the Arab world, as far as Greece and Northern Europe. And they would send emissaries and dynastic representatives, and great marriages were held between different established lines, and great, apart from marriages, alliances, cultural crafts, arts, music, all of this was interchanged and exchanged. And there was even great sporting events. For instance, we have a place which is the home of Irish horse racing on the Curragh of Kildare. This is a natural plain. And there were chariot races back then held by different, competitors in a very sporting occasion. Nobody could come to this Fair of Carmen without having the protection and safe passage of the King of Leinster. And this festival was held in a town that's now known as Ballymore Eustace, but previous to that had a different name. But there was a major river, and on the banks of that river Liffey, there were different areas to establish the different areas of the festival, but all arms were deposited before anybody could come within miles of this place. Wow. So it was very much a peaceful festival, and it was very glorious. It was established as a celebration because in ancient times there was a very great battle that took place called the Battle of Moytura. And therein, over a trivial matter, the King of Leinster went up against the King of Connacht. And in that dispute, the King of Leinster in his army had 3 great warriors, and they happened to be brothers and the only sons of this lady called Carmen. And her 3 sons were died at that battle. And because of her great grief, the king, to reward her, he established this festival in her honor to be held every 3 years. And that's the way it was for over 1,000 years. So that festival was reestablished a couple of, maybe 10 years ago by a colleague of mine. And it lasted for years, but he got ill and passed away since then, as far as I know. So it hasn't been, yeah, but that is just some of the rich history of our country that most people have no idea and forget. Yeah,
exactly. Jim, do you have anything to add?
Well, you see, the chief is a better historian than I am. There's not a lot I can add to what the chief said because it's outside of my sphere of knowledge.
Yeah, you just being humble. But listen, Chief, is it proper to refer to you guys as Celts or Irish, or like what's the proper way to refer to your people?